Chief Damola Adebayo had rejected more women than Lagos traffic rejected patients. Tall women, short women, women with accents that entered before them. He rejected all. Elite club ladies smiled at him with designer teeth, sprayed foreign perfume like mosquito repellent, and laughed too loudly at jokes that were not funny. He sent them away with one cold sentence: "I'm not interested." Yet every night, when the gates of his mansion closed and the city noise faded, silence sat beside him like an unwanted wife. His mansion was massive, modern Nigerian luxury at its peak. Italian marble floors, so shiny you could see your future in them. A chandelier that looked like it was imported directly from heaven. Furniture so expensive that even dust was careful where it landed. Still, the house felt empty. Chief Damola stood by the glass window one night, holding a glass of wine, staring at Lagos lights. "Why am I lonely like this?" he muttered. The wine did not answer. Money never did. Meanwhile, life was slapping someone else. Across town, Fumi Adeyemi was packing her entire life into one small bag. 2 dresses, 1 worn-out sandal, a small Bible that had seen suffering. Life had not been smiling at Fumi. It had been laughing at her. Landlord had chased her. NEPA had embarrassed her. Hunger had become a close friend. So when she got a call saying she had been accepted as a maid in a billionaire's mansion, she nearly fainted. She knelt down immediately. "God, if this is prank, please don't let them disgrace me." First step into luxury Wahala. The day Fumi arrived at Chief Damola's mansion, her mouth refused to close. She stood at the gate, staring. "This place is not house," she whispered. "This is airport." The gate opened slowly like a movie scene. Inside, everything screamed money. White walls, gold accents, silent air conditioning humming softly like rich people's generator. The floors were so clean that Fumi hesitated to step on them. She whispered again, "If I slip and fall here, will my village hear it?" The head housekeeper gave her a strict look. "Behave yourself. This is Chief Damola Adebayo's house." Fumi nodded quickly. "Yes, ma'am. I will even breathe gently." The moment that changed everything. That afternoon, while cleaning the enormous living room, Fumi finally relaxed. No one was around. Her body moved before her sense returned. She connected her phone softly. Music played. She sang, not loud, but full of life. She danced gently, spinning with her mop like it was her dance partner. Even if life no soft, joy must show. Unknown to her, Chief Damola was coming down the staircase. He stopped. He stared. "What is this?" he thought. He stepped back quietly and started peeping like someone watching forbidden movie. His heart began doing gim-gim. This girl is happy? He had not seen that kind of happiness in years. Suddenly, Fumi turned. Their eyes met. She gasped, "Oga?" Then she laughed. "Sir, why are you peeping like you borrowed something?" Chief Damola cleared his throat. "I was passing." She grinned boldly. "Since you're here, come and dance na." He frowned immediately. "Me? Dance? I don't dance. Especially not with my maid." Fumi shrugged, unfazed. "No problem. But if you dance with me, you'll be happy. Just try." She began singing again. Soft, sweet, honest. Something inside him cracked. "Fine," he said. "One dance." That first dance was awkward, stiff, and slightly embarrassing. But then, Chief Damola laughed. A real laugh. And, for the first time in many lonely years, the billionaire felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Chief Damola Adebayo did not sleep well that night. He lay on his king-sized bed surrounded by Egyptian cotton sheets, softer than most people's future, staring at the ceiling like it had personally offended him. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Fumi, not in the way men usually saw women, but laughing, dancing, singing with reckless happiness. "This is madness," he muttered, turning to the other side. "I don't feel like this. I don't feel anything." Yet his heart refused to cooperate. A billionaire with new bad habits. The next morning, Chief Damola woke up earlier than usual. Not because of business, because of curiosity. He stood at his bedroom door, pretending to check his phone while listening carefully. Silence. He frowned. No singing? He walked downstairs, slowly, casually, pretending not to care. Fumi was cleaning the dining area, focused, quiet. She didn't sing. She didn't dance. She didn't even smile. And for reasons he refused to accept, the house felt colder. "Good morning, sir," she greeted politely, eyes lowered. "Morning," he replied, then paused. "That's all?" She nodded. "Yes, sir." He walked away annoyed, at her, at himself, at the silence. The guards began to notice. By afternoon, Chief Damola had developed a new routine. He passed the living room, returned, passed again. The guards exchanged looks. "Oga don dewaka like this since morning? Something don baitam?" Chief Damola pretended not to hear. "Is the new maid always this quiet?" he asked one guard casually. The guard hesitated. "Yes, sir, but yesterday she was singing." Damola replied, pretending not to care. Peace comes with a voice. Later that day, as Chief Damola sat in his study battling emails, the sound returned. Soft, sweet. Fumi was singing again. His pen froze. His chest loosened. He leaned back, closing his eyes. "This," he whispered, "this is peace." He stayed there longer than necessary, letting her voice wash over him like a private concert. Elite women, zero interest. That evening, a familiar elite woman visited, tall, glamorous, loud. She laughed, touched his arm, spoke about Europe and parties. Chief Damola nodded absent-mindedly. Her perfume choked him. Her laughter irritated him. When she left, he felt relieved. She is not her, he thought. In unwanted truth, that night alone again, Chief Damola admitted something terrifying. He liked her presence. He liked her voice. He liked how she didn't try to impress him. "She's just a maid," he argued with himself. But his heart replied, "So?" He sighed deeply. For the first time in years, the billionaire realized something dangerous. His peace had a name, and her name was Fumi Adeyemi. By the third day, Chief Damola Adebayo knew something was terribly wrong with him. The mansion was spotless. The staff moved efficiently. Everything was perfect, yet nothing felt right. A house too quiet. Damola sat in the living room, scrolling through his phone without reading a single message. The massive space echoed with silence, the kind that pressed against the ears. No singing, no dancing, no careless laughter. He glanced toward the hallway again. Still, nothing. "This house is too quiet," he muttered. "Even my AC is depressed." He stood and walked around, pretending to be busy, but truly waiting. Waiting for a voice. Avoidance level expert. Fumi, on the other hand, had upgraded her avoidance skills. Whenever she heard his footsteps, she vanished like unpaid debt. If he entered the dining room, she moved to the laundry. If he came downstairs, she suddenly remembered work upstairs. Her heart beat too fast around him. She remembered the way he looked at her when she danced, the way his presence made her suddenly aware of herself. "This is dangerous," she whispered to herself. "I'm just a maid." The billionaire loses focus. At work, Damola sat through meetings without hearing a word. Board members talked about millions. His mind replayed Fumi's voice. "Chief, are you listening?" someone asked. "Yes," he replied quickly. He wasn't. He scribbled her name on a notepad before realizing what he had done. He closed the notebook sharply. "This is madness." A guard's bold observation. Back at the mansion, Damola paced. One guard watched him for a moment before clearing his throat. "Sir, with due respect," the guard said carefully. "Since that girl stopped singing, Oga no day smile." Damola froze. "Get back to work," he snapped. But the truth had landed. The night of confession, to himself. That night, Damola stood by the window again. He loosened his tie. "She is just a maid," he argued aloud. Different world, different life, but his heart refused to listen. "I feel good when she's around," he admitted quietly. "I feel alive." He closed his eyes. "If this is love," he whispered, "then I'm in serious trouble." Fumi's quiet fear. In her small room in the maid's quarters, Fumi sat on her bed, hugging her knees. She stared at the wall. Why does his presence make my chest tight? She asked herself. Why do I miss singing? She shook her head. No, this is not my world. But deep down, she knew. Silence was hurting her too. The mansion had grown quiet, almost painfully so. Chief Damola Adebayo returned from work one late afternoon, his mind still tangled in spreadsheets, deals, and boardroom drama. But something tugged at him more than money ever could. Fumi's voice. From a distance, he heard it, a soft melody floating through the air, carrying the same carefree joy that had first made him laugh 3 nights ago. His chest tightened. His steps slowed. Every nerve in his body demanded that he follow it. The unexpected invitation. He sent one of his guards to summon Fumi with her daily tasks. "Tell her to serve my food in my room," he said casually, but even he could feel his pulse quicken. When Fumi entered the bedroom carrying the tray, she froze. Chief Damola stood by the window, shirtless, only dark trousers hugging his waist, the late afternoon light highlighting his toned chest and broad shoulders. Her mouth went dry. Her heart galloped. "Oh no, oh no, oh no," she whispered to herself, as if saying it 3 times might make it less real. A moment of awkwardness. Fumi carefully placed the food tray on the polished table and turned to leave, trying to maintain composure. But Chief Damola moved suddenly. His hand caught her wrist. "Where are you going?" he asked, voice low but commanding. I've placed your food, sir," she stammered, eyes wide. "That's not the only thing I want," he said, his lips curved slightly. "I want you to sing for me, and I want to dance with you again." Fumi froze. Her mind screamed logic. He is a billionaire. He is my boss. He is dangerous. Her heart screamed joy. The song returns. Fumi reluctantly agreed, setting the food aside. She began to sing. Her voice floated through the room, soft, melodious, innocent, and full of life. Chief Damola watched her, utterly captivated. Every note was a balm, every laugh a spark. He picked up a fork, but barely touched the food. His attention was entirely on her, the dance that stole his heart. After she finished singing, he extended his hand. "Dance with me," he said. Fumi hesitated. Memories of their last dance flashed in her mind, awkward, forbidden, exhilarating. But something in his eyes, vulnerable yet intense, told her forward. They moved together slowly at first, then faster, then effortlessly, as if the world had stopped outside the mansion walls. Every turn, every step, every spin brought them closer, confessions in motion. While dancing, Chief Damola's voice softened. "Fumi, when you sing, I find peace. When we dance, I feel happy. I've never felt this before. His words were cut off by the intensity of the moment. Impulsively, he kissed her. Fumi froze for a second, then returned it. The kiss deepened, unspoken desires taking over. One moment, they were dancing. The next, they were on the luxurious king-sized bed, tangled in sheets, bodies close, hearts racing. Time became meaningless. Only the sound of their breathing and the soft fabric of the sheets mattered. The morning after confusion. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Fumi woke up, cheeks flushed, heart racing. Chief Damola's shirt was crumpled beside him, hair tousled. They stared at each other, silent. What happened last night?" she whispered, voice trembling. I don't know," he admitted, equally confused, yet smiling faintly. Realization dawned. They had spent the night together like a couple, yet they were still, technically, billionaire and maid. Flustered, they quickly got dressed, stumbling over words, apologizing. The guards gossip. As Fumi tried to leave the room, she passed the guards. They whispered, "Guy, we never see Olga this happy before. Na dis gel doamo. She fits kata hauso." Fumi blushed so hard, she wished the floor could swallow her. The silence after the storm. After that incident, Fumi avoided Damola. No more singing, no more dancing. The mansion felt quieter than ever. But Chief Damola's mind was a storm. Why am I feeling this way? She's just a maid. But why do I feel complete when she's around? For the first time in his life, he realized love doesn't follow rules. And Fumi, unknowingly, had captured his heart entirely. The morning came too quickly. Fumi barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Demola's face, his smile, his confession, the way his voice softened when he spoke her name. She turned on her narrow bed in the maid's quarters, staring at the ceiling like it had personally betrayed her. God, she whispered, pulling the blanket over her head. If this is temptation, please package it well and remove it from my life. Her phone alarm rang. She slapped it off and sat up with a groan. Today was supposed to be normal. Normal meant cleaning, avoiding eye contact, and pretending she didn't almost faint the last time her boss looked at her like she was oxygen. She dressed carefully in her usual maid uniform, black dress, white apron, flat shoes, and tied her braids neatly. As she stepped out, her heart beat too fast, and then she heard his voice. Fumi. She stopped like someone had pressed pause on her soul. She turned slowly. Chief Demola stood at the base of the staircase, already dressed. Dark trousers, crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up. Calm, composed, dangerous. Good morning, sir, she said quickly, bowing her head. Get ready, he said. She blinked. Sir? We're going out, her brain crashed. Out? As in outside? She asked carefully, as if the word itself might explode. Yes. With you? He nodded. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. Sir, is this work-related? Because if it's work-related, I need gloves and maybe a mop. Demola smiled. That was her first warning. No questions, he said calmly. Just get ready. The luxury boutique. 30 minutes later, Fumi sat stiffly in the passenger seat of Demola's sleek black car, hands folded on her lap like she was attending her own trial. When the car stopped, she looked out and almost swallowed her tongue. A luxury fashion boutique stared back at her. Glass walls, gold lettering, mannequins dressed like they earned more than her entire lineage. She turned to him slowly. Sir, are we lost? We're here. Her eyes widened. Here where rich people breathe? He laughed softly. Come. Inside, everything sparkled. The air even smelled expensive. A stylist rushed forward. Welcome, sir. Fumi stood awkwardly behind Demola, clutching her small handbag like a shield. Demola gestured casually. Pick dresses for her. For me? Fumi gasped. She pulled Demola aside urgently. Sir, I don't have money. One dress here is my 10 years' salary. Sir, do you want to kill me? Even my future children cannot afford this. He chuckled. Relax, it's not from your salary. She frowned. Then whose money? Mine. She stared at him. Sir, even my dowry is not this expensive. He laughed loudly this time. Fumi tried on dresses with shaking hands. Silk, lace, flowing fabrics. When she stepped out in a soft champagne-colored dress, Demola forgot how to breathe. She noticed his stare and whispered, Sir, is it bad? It's dangerous, he replied honestly. Her cheeks burned. The restaurant panic. Next stop, an expensive restaurant. As soon as Fumi saw the place, she nearly turned back. Sir, I'm not hungry, she announced firmly. Suddenly, very suddenly, Demola raised an eyebrow. You were hungry this morning. That was before I saw prices that can buy land in 3 states. He laughed. Sit. She sat like someone waiting for bad news. She whispered, Sir, if I break a glass, will they arrest me? He shook his head, amused. As they ate, Fumi relaxed. She laughed. She talked. She forgot herself. And Demola watched her like she was the only thing in the room. The return home. Back at the mansion, Fumi carried her shopping bags carefully. I'll put these in my room, she said quickly. Demola stopped her. Where are you going? To my room, sir. He frowned. You think those dresses belong in that small room? She hesitated. Sir, where should they stay? My room. Her heart skipped. She obeyed silently, placing the bags carefully inside his bedroom. She turned to leave. Fumi. Yes, sir. Where do you think you're going? She swallowed. Back to work? I want you here, he said softly. With me. She froze. I want you to sing for me, dance with me. Always. her breath caught. "Sir, last time. Forget last time," he said gently. He stepped forward, reached into his pocket, and suddenly, he knelt. The world tilted. He opened a ring box. "Will you marry me?" Fumi stared. "Marry?" she whispered. "Me? The maid?" Filled her eyes. She laughed shakily. "Even in my dreams, sir. I will marry you." She covered her mouth, crying and laughing at the same time. "God, please, if this is a dream, don't wake me." Damola stood, slid the ring onto her finger, and pulled her into his arms. For the first time in his life, he wasn't lonely anymore.
The news did not knock. It kicked the door open. By morning, the mansion was no longer a home. It was a cinema. Everyone had a seat. Everyone had an opinion. Fumi knew something was wrong the moment she stepped into the kitchen, and conversation died like a phone battery at 1%. Spoons froze mid-air. Eyes widened. Someone dropped a cup. "Good morning," she said softly. No one answered. Instead, heads bent together. Whispers erupted. "That's her. The one. The maid that entered Oga's room and didn't come out till morning." Fumi's ears burned. She carried on with her work, pretending her heart wasn't doing gymnastics. She scrubbed surfaces that were already clean and avoided mirrors like they were police checkpoints. And then, "Madam." She stopped breathing. The word didn't belong to her. She turned slowly. The head housekeeper stood stiffly, face unreadable. "Oga wants to see you, in the living room." Her knees weakened. The living room judgment. The living room looked different when you were about to be judged. Chief Damola sat calmly on a leather sofa, legs crossed, expression unreadable. He wore a light brown kaftan, relaxed, regal. Opposite him sat his mother, Chief Mrs. Morenike Adebayo, tall, poised, immaculately dressed in lace so expensive it could intimidate mirrors. Her skin was light caramel, her head wrap sculpted to perfection, lips pressed into a thin line. Fumi entered and froze. She had changed into a simple floral dress Damola bought her, but she suddenly felt naked. "Come closer," Damola said gently. She obeyed. His mother's eyes scanned her slowly, from head to toe. "This," she said calmly, "is the maid?" Fumi swallowed. "Yes, ma," she replied softly. Silence fell. Then the woman laughed, once, sharp. "Damola," she said, turning to her son, "you rejected senators' daughters, bank owners' children, women who speak 5 languages." She pointed lightly at Fumi. "And you chose this?" Fumi's chest tightened. Damola stood. "Yes." The single word landed like thunder. His mother blinked. "I love her," he added calmly. The room shook. "The maid finds her voice." Fumi surprised herself. She stepped forward. "Ma," she said respectfully, voice shaking but steady, "I know I'm not what you expected. I know I don't belong in your world." Her eyes watered. "But your son makes me happy, and I make him happy." The older woman stared. "You make him happy?" she repeated. "Yes," Fumi said. "When he was lonely, I sang. When his heart was heavy, we danced. That's all I had to give." Damola reached for her hand. His mother's lips trembled, not with anger, but something else. Fear. The staff rebellion. Outside the living room, the staff was losing their minds. She spoke? Did she just answer, "Madam? Is this Nollywood or real life?" The guards leaned in close. "Have you seen Oga smile before?" "Not like this." Inside, Damola turned back to his mother. "She's my wife," he said firmly. "Not a mistake, not a phase." His mother stood slowly. "I will leave," she said. "But know this world is not kind to girls like her." Fumi bowed her head. "I know, ma." She paused at the door, then turned. "She sings well," she said quietly. "I heard her." And she left. The quiet after the storm. The house exhaled. Fumi collapsed into a chair. "I'm dead," she whispered. "I'm officially dead." Damola laughed softly. "You were brave." "I was terrified." He knelt in front of her, holding her hands. "The world will talk," he said. "Let them." She smiled weakly. "As long as you don't ask me to sing in front of your mother." He laughed. Outside, the staff buzzed again. "So it's true? Oga has chosen love. And the maid? She's no longer just a maid. Upstairs, in the quiet room where dancing once began. A new life waited. If love was quiet, Lagos was not. The news of Chief Damola Adebayo's engagement spread faster than generator noise during a blackout. By noon, blogs had titles screaming in capital letters. Aunties had already chosen fabrics in their minds, and someone somewhere was asking, "Is she from our village?" Fumi discovered the truth the hard way. She walked into the living room and almost fainted. The house was no longer a house. It was a planning headquarters. Decor samples covered the table. Event planners talked over each other. Tailors held measuring tapes like weapons. Someone was arguing about chair color like it was a national issue. "Sir," Fumi whispered, "did something happen?" Damola looked up calmly from his phone. "Our engagement party is this weekend." Her soul left her body. "This weekend?" she croaked. "Yes," she laughed nervously. "Sir, is there no long notice for these things? Even WAEC gives time." The staff entertainment unit. The mansion staff had turned into unpaid commentators. "So it's true?" True. Oga is engaged to our Fumi." From sweeping floor to sweeping Oga's heart, Fumi wanted the ground to open. When the tailor tried to measure her waist, she almost ran. "Please," she begged Damola later, "can we do something small?" He smiled. "Small for Lagos is still big." The mother returns. Just when Fumi thought her heart couldn't race faster, a familiar car pulled in. Chief Mrs. Moriniki Adebayo stepped out. Fumi froze like a generator that refused to start. The woman entered gracefully, surveyed the chaos, and sat. "Congratulations," she said. Everyone stopped breathing. "I want to see the girl," she added. Fumi approached slowly. Mrs. Moriniki studied her, then nodded. "You will wear wine-colored lace." Fumi blinked. "Yes, ma'am." She paused. "You dance well." Fumi nearly fainted. The night before, Fumi sat on her bed, dressed in a silk robe, staring at herself in the mirror. "Me?" she whispered. "Engagement?" Damola entered quietly. "You okay?" She shook her head. "I'm scared." He sat beside her. "So was I. Before you." She laughed softly. The engagement day. The venue was madness. Gold chairs, live band, giant LED screens, influencers pretending they weren't gossiping, aunties inspecting Fumi like they were buying tomatoes. When she walked in, wearing her wine-colored lace, the room went silent. Damola couldn't breathe. "She's beautiful," someone whispered. "She's not even trying." The dance that started it all. Music changed, a familiar tune. Fumi looked at Damola. "Sir, dance with me." They stepped onto the floor. She sang softly. He smiled. The room disappeared. The acceptance. Later, Mrs. Moriniki raised the glass. "My son was lonely," she said. "This girl brought him peace." She turned to Fumi. "Welcome." Tears fell. The staff cheered. The internet exploded. And in the middle of Lagos noise, two hearts stayed steady. The wedding day arrived the way destiny always does, without asking permission. Lagos woke up early that morning, restless and loud, as if the city itself knew something important was happening. Outside the Grand Event Center, cars lined the streets like a royal procession. Inside, florists adjusted flowers that cost more than some people's rent. Tailors made last-minute corrections, and aunties argued about who would sit closest to the couple. Fumi sat quietly in the bridal suite, dressed in white. Her hands trembled. She stared at her reflection, hardly recognizing the woman looking back at her, radiant, calm, and strangely whole. "Is this still me?" she whispered. Her mother, seated beside her, held her hand. "Yes," she said gently, "just upgraded." Fumi laughed through tears. The walk. When the doors opened, the noise faded. All Damola heard was his own heartbeat. Fumi walked toward him slowly, her white gown flowing like a promise. Her warm chocolate-brown skin glowed under the lights. Her eyes searched for his, and found home. Damola swallowed hard. This was the woman who danced barefoot at his mansion. The woman who sang life back into his loneliness. The woman the world tried to belittle. And now, his wife. The interruption that failed. Just before the vows, movement stirred. Amara stood. Gasps rippled through the room. Damola tensed, but Amara only smiled faintly. "I just want to say congratulations," she said calmly. and you chose well. Fumi met her eyes and nodded. The moment passed. Piece 1. The vows. I was rich, Damola said, voice steady, but I was empty. You gave me joy money couldn't buy. Fumi smiled through tears. I had nothing, she replied softly, but I gave you my voice. You heard it. They exchanged rings. The crowd erupted. The dance that came full circle. Music played, the same melody from the mansion. Fumi sang. Damola danced. The staff cheered. The aunties wiped tears. The mother smiled. Mrs. Morenike stood and clapped slowly. My son, she said proudly, found peace. Months later, the mansion felt different, lighter. Fumi sang freely now, sometimes in silk, sometimes barefoot. Damola danced without caring who watched. Love had changed the house. One evening, as they swayed together, Fumi laughed. Imagine if I never sang that day. Damola pulled her closer. Then I would still be rich, he said softly, and still be lonely. She kissed him, and in a city that never slept, two hearts finally rested. This story reminds us that love does not ask for permission from class, wealth, or status. True happiness comes when we allow ourselves to see people for who they are, not where they come from or what they own. Money can build mansions, but only love makes a home. Pride isolates, but humility opens the door to connection. Never silence your joy or talent just because you feel small. Someone out there may need it to heal. The right person will not be threatened by your background. They will be inspired by your strength. Damola learned that success without love is empty. Fumi learned that her voice, her true self, was always enough. Be kind, be brave, be yourself. Love will find you. If this story made you smile, laugh, or believe in love again, if you enjoyed the romance, comedy, and Nollywood vibes, please like this story, subscribe, follow, for more billionaire romance, slow burn love stories, and emotional storytelling. Share with someone who loves romantic stories. Your support helps create